Tuesday, January 22nd. The time is 7:17 p.m. Just quick housekeeping rules. We're in the City Council chambers, and I know there are announcements always at the beginning of the council meetings where the exits are in the back of the room, right? That's correct. Front and back, and the acoustics are good in here, so you can keep your comments to a low level, right? And remove your hats unless it's part of the uniform or part of your free speech religion. But nonetheless, we want to make sure that you all know that we're going to open up the floor to comments for the budget or against the budget. What we'll do, we'll ask those that are for the budget to come forward, or if you're against the budget, to come forward in no particular order, because we see that we have a modest-sized crowd tonight. But I do want to point out that numerous commissioners of the administration are here tonight. They spent dozens of hours working on this in partnership with our various branches of government, and we'd like to give you the opportunity to talk with them as they're here in the room. That can help answer any technical questions. As a matter of formality, the board, this board tonight is not here to answer said questions. We're here to listen, receive feedback, and I'm pretty confident that after this proceeding, any of us will be more than willing to talk to you about some of the points that are raised tonight. So again, just like to call on those that have comments about the budget to come forward to form a line right here. Before you do so, I'll call on the deputy clerk to read the order of the meeting.
Please be advised, there will be a public hearing for the annual estimate for the Pessin contract on Tuesday, January 22nd, 2019 at 7 p.m. in the City Council chambers. The meeting is in reference to the annual estimate for the year 2019. This meeting notice was posted on the bulletin board, sent to the Journal News, to WFAS, to the Mayor and Controller, Council President.
So,
The public hearing notice was published in the Journal News on January 17th and January 18th, 2019. The summary of the proposed annual estimate for the year 2019 and comparison with the adjusted for the year 2018. With a proposed property tax percent increase of 2.69%, which was posted in the Journal News on January 17th at 1:18.
okay, roll call.
Councilwoman Vernon. Here. Council President Wallace.
Here.
Mayor Thomas.
Here. So, as a matter of order, we'll take comments on the budget. We'll start with those that either have proclivity for the budget. We'll ask that you provide comment, or if there's a position that you're going to take against the budget. We'll take those four first, and then if none, we'll take those against. Or general comments if you don't have a position either way. So, address, and there's a here which will be notified when we have one in the.
Good evening, Giovanni Montemorano, address is 223 North 7th Avenue, Mount Vernon, New York, 10550. I've been employed with the city of Mount Vernon since 2001, when I'm at 18th year. I looked over this budget, and to me, it's a budget that's going to benefit the city and every department. Why not pass a budget that's going to add positions to the city, make it a better place, fix the sewers? I was in sewer crew, which I'm surprised it's still holding up, to be honest with you. Sidewalks, streets, you name it, everything is here for it. So why not okay it, and the taxes go up a little bit? The house of my parents from on 7th Avenue, which I pay their taxes because they're retired. When they bought the house, it was about $6,000. Now it's about almost over $11,000. Taxes go up, but there's no services. And it seems like everybody wants to point the finger. So I'm like, I don't know, taxes go up if there's no services. And I see, because I've been in this department, you want a budget that's gonna add more positions, more trucks, more equipment, to better a city which is located in the middle of everything. It's in Manhattan, it's 20 minutes. Every major train goes through here. Mount Vernon is the heart, could be like planes, 4 square miles, but for some reason, every time this mayor does something, it gets shot down. Now, I don't know about politics, I could be wrong, but I know in the past, under the other administrations, when those people proposed the budget, if there was ever such a big fight over it. I don't recall everybody being against it. Controller has their own budget, council has their own budget, 3 budgets at one time. He's the mayor. He has 4 years in office. We don't like it. When his term is up, somebody else comes in. It shouldn't go this bigger. My thing is too now, off the subject, Memorial Field, right? They spent $4 million to knock down those stands. I was working in Memorial Field at the time in the other administration, okay? Checks were handed out, stands were still up. 7 months ago, the stands came down for $190,000, and it was a big deal about it. Why was that $4 million that disappeared? Why doesn't anybody ask those questions? But you worry about $190,000 was $4 million. That $4 million came from us, the taxes that we paid. Not the taxes that officials pay, that we pay. This budget is our money, not their money. They shouldn't dictate to us, we should dictate to them how this budget should work. If it's better for the city, I'm for it. My other thing is to the controller. She's handing out literature, 5 reasons why not to vote for this budget. I came in and I asked her. She told me no. I've been employed with the city since 2001, I think longer than even councilwoman or controller. 18 years. I've given everything. Hurricane Sandy, my daughter was being born, and I wasn't even at the hospital with my wife because I was here. And you tell me I can't have a piece of literature of why not to vote for the budget. You tell me tomorrow? That's my fault. Remember, you're an elected official. It's not your money. Thank you.
Next time I'll go over here, I'll look over there to see the red light. Microphone open for comment from the budget.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Jamie Pessin. I'm sure I get my address. Yes. 49 Elm Avenue, Mount Vernon, New York. Happy to live here. So I took a look at the budget, and I'm not going to talk about what I don't like, because I understand it's a yes and a no vote. So what I want to tell you is that I looked at specifically the pay increases that are going to employees, and I think that we are fooling ourselves if we don't see a problem with some employees that work at City Hall. I'm not getting into specifics, but there's been sabotage. There's people that honestly need to move on or improve their career, because we need to grow. We need not to root ourselves and fight anybody that threatens our job. And what I see, I don't see a drain on the taxpayers. I see an investment. And with investments, there are expectations that commissioners do better, that employees do better, that the staff under them do better. And I'm going to look at this injection of expectation as a good thing. And I'm also going to monitor the progress of the departments, because I'm tired of getting voicemails instead of people. I'm tired of making complaints that say we'll get back to you and then people don't. I'm tired of our website saying that our councilwoman is on a committee that goes against the charter. We need people in the place to do the right thing, and I think that by giving this raise, it's really going to tell people to step up to the plate or get out, because at the end of the day, it is a city hall for people, and those people do need to feed their children, and we need to have confidence in them. And if this is what it takes so that we get a functioning city hall, I support it. And that's all I have to say.
Comments on the budget?
budget. I've seen a lot of budgets pass here with no accountability. The YMCA is one example of a budget that passed, that we invested in and nobody followed up, and now you want to sell it. I'm still looking for that $125,000 that you put in for the pool director. That in a building that never opened up, and you were a city councilman. This is not about politics, this is about accountability. In that budget, I don't see anything that I can understand. I understand their raises for administrators. I don't have a problem with that, except that it's sustainable. What's the, what are the amount of homes that are in foreclosure? What's the tax revenue? Have you increased that? I see that you say it, but have you enumerated it? There's a lot of spiel going on, there's a lot of blame going on. I really don't care about that. I pay my taxes every year, on time. And I'm tired of the nonsense that's going on. You are not representing us well. The fact that there was constant bickering, there's no way I'd invest in a city like this if I had another option. And that means the city council too. Because this has been going on for years. The county's gonna raise our taxes. The school district is raising our taxes. What's the return that we're getting on our investments? That's what I wanna know. And that budget tells me nothing. And I'm not employed by the city. I don't work for the school system. But I'm invested. I'm a stakeholder in this city and have been for a long time. And I think you owe us more than what's going on at this point. Stay out of the meeting.
Comments on the budget?
Axel Edelman, I'm at 61 Magnolia Avenue, Mount Vernon. One problem that I have with the budget is that currently the taxes are high and the service is poor. Like to close a building permit, it took me, I would say, 9 months and about 10 trips to the building department last year. And now we're just pouring more money into a bottomless pit that hasn't worked so far. I think it needs to be fixed first, before we increase salaries or before we increase the budget. If you look at the actual budget right now, I wouldn't say I can understand every line item, but for example, the salaries have gone up from $44 million to $59 million between 2017 and 2019. That's almost a 30% increase. The services apparently didn't improve with that, so that's not a good picture to even spend more money on that. If you look at the Office of the Mayor, the increase was almost 100%. It's supposed to go up from 2017 to 2019 from $326,000 to $637,000. That's a 100% increase on salaries in 2 years. For a community that is short on funds, I really think we shouldn't just throw money at things if we cannot improve services at the same time. Thank you.
Comments on the budgets?
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I'd like to reiterate what that gentleman just said. You know, my name is Robert Garner, 29 South First Avenue. I think that he said it well. Basically, to sum it up, I would think that, you know, we should be paying for performance. So it should be based on that performance. I do believe that some of the areas we should give an increase to, but I think that it's somewhat reckless, the dollar amounts that I see. If I look and I say that, well, you know, let's increase by 3% or something like that, then I can say that, you know, maybe that's okay, you see, for certain areas. But once again, you know, when I look at a department and I see that that department has done well, they've served the community well, they've served Mount Vernon well, then I'm all for that kind of increase. But without that, then I can't agree. I believe that we should be increasing salaries based on performance, based on the performance and how, you know, it's helping to have Mount Vernon, you know, grow. Thanks.
Any comments on the budget?
Good evening. Thomas Keller, 12 Pasadena Place, 10552. I'm against the budget. Surprise? Salary detail here, thanks to Comptroller Reynolds. Chief of Staff, 125, 2018, 0. Because you moved Maria Donovan over and paid her out of the IDA. Wait till DiNapoli audits the IDA, see what's going on there. Code line 1432. Hope everybody has one of these. Code line 1432. First Deputy Commissioner, Labor Relations. Second Deputy Personnel. Third Deputy Operations. Approximately $200,000 in additional salaries to staff. Commissioner, Code 1680. I don't know what that person's commissioner are. 101 to 140. 40% increase for that commissioner. Sewer technician, I'm not going to touch that because of the sewer problems. Okay. 0 to 140. Another commissioner, Code 3410. 105 to 124, about a 20% increase. Plan examiner, 0 in 2018, 120 for 2019. Building inspector, 1 at 65, custom clerk 40, 3 plumbers at 240, clerk, plumbing supervisor, 0 for 2018. It looks like it's about another 400,000 in salaries here, 400,000 or 500,000 off the top of my head. Commissioner of Planning and Urban Renewal, I guess part of that was paid by the federal government or out of the Urban Renewal Agency, 35 to 125. I'm not sure how much. I guess 35 was paid by the city, and the other 80 or 90 was paid out of Urban Renewal Agency. So I don't know enough about that to comment. Office assistant, receptionist, 0, now it's 34. Chief accountant, 0, now it's 92. Associate planner, 0, now it's 65. About a $2 million increase in salaries. Senior planner, city curator, grant writer, another 2 or 300,000. Now we get to revenue. So the proposal is a 50% increase in net proceeds from sales and use tax, 13.8 to 20.3. What's the justification? Our economy is going to grow that much in the city of Mount Vernon? I mean, as far as I know, the sales tax hasn't increased, and you have to get approval by the state to increase it. It's 8 3/8. That's the total tax. The city gets a portion of that. Real estate property transfer tax. We're assuming a lot of sales, I guess. 50% increase in that. 1.7 to 2.5. That's millions of dollars. 1.7 to 2.5. Collection fees on delinquent school taxes, 280 to 500. That's a 200,000 increase. Beware, school taxes are due by the 31st, the second one. Even though she's not going to be able to get the bills out because this meeting should have taken place according to the charter November 15th. So don't forget to pay your school taxes, otherwise you get hit with a penalty. And this number could be correct. But I got it. All right, let's see. Oh, here's the big one. Parking meter and permit fees, code 1720. We're going from 825 to 3.5 million. That's more than a 4-fold increase. Are we going to pay $1 for 15 minutes as opposed to $1.25 for 15 minutes? I don't know that there's new parking garages, new parking lots coming on board, and we lost the parking garage, given away to a developer for a high-rise disaster. Can I continue?
Yes. 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 Go ahead.
Youth camp. Police department, 542 to $1 million, almost a doubling. Fines and forfeited video criminal court fines, double from $1.9 million to 3.3, almost double. I read his weekly stuff, and we've got a decrease in crime. You know, murders are going down, rapes are going down, burglaries, larceny, and you have an increase in bail and forfeited court fines of almost double. Explain that one to me. Red light cameras, what a disaster. Another 50% increase in red light camera stuff. Transfer, here's the water fund, right? Where's the water money coming the last couple of years? It's gonna be $1 million this year. Really? Building department revenue.
Mr. Keller.
Vote this down. Go back to the drawing boards. Thank you.
Now the city budget.
Good evening. My name is Chantel Carter. I am the Commissioner of the Planning Department for the City of Mount Vernon. I live at 358 North Fulton Avenue, Mount Vernon, New York. I felt compelled to come and speak after the last speaker because there were a lot of notices in the Planning Department as to added positions. The Planning Department has been underfunded for years. The Planning Commissioner has not been funded by the City of Mount Vernon. That department spearheads how the city is going to develop. It's responsible for developing plans of how the city is going to develop. We don't have a comprehensive plan, as you guys should know by now. We need planners in order to put a comprehensive plan together. We are, as everyone knows, 20 minutes from the City of Mount Vernon, and every day I get a lot of developers who are looking to develop in the City of Mount Vernon. But we don't have any plan for those people to be attracted. So I think it's very important that we invest in the city. We also have grant writers that we need. We have one grant administrator position and one planning administrator position for 70,000 people. So I like to talk about the fact that the city of New Rochelle, which I have been in communication with the New Rochelle Planning Commissioner, and they invested into their planning department and received threefold in grants. So the city of Mount Vernon, we can't expect to recover if we don't want to invest. Yes, it probably seems like a shock, but the bottom line is that we have been operating under average. So we need to at least get to average. We need to get to average. So I support the budget, obviously. I also want to talk about the fact that I think this budget is in line with the clean water compliance. We all know we are facing a crisis with our sewers, so you will see that there is investment in the Department of Public Works and the Planning Department. Those two departments are going to be working closely together to address our sewer compliance. And we have to take it seriously. It's been years now that we've been not taking it seriously, and we're waiting for them to drop a hammer for us to take it seriously. That's what the city of Mount Vernon does. And I'm really hopeful that we stand up for real this time and give people the pay that they deserve. The Veterans Commissioner has been woefully underpaid. We have the HR Commissioner, $78,000. You guys wonder why you don't get good services because you don't attract good candidates. You have to be able to provide people with a salary that will make this job attractive for people to want to come and work here. I came here, I don't have, my position is not funded. I'm working here and I'm working here because I love the city of Mount Vernon and I'm from here. But not everyone's going to say that. So if we don't invest in ourselves, we cannot expect to get good service. So with that said, I support it.
Comments on the budget?
The Party Commissioner for the City of Mount Vernon. My address is 40 Hutchinson Boulevard, Mount Vernon. I've been with the city since 1985. Now, let's just talk about the fire department and a few other things. The last time we bought new fire apparatus was 2010 under Mayor Clifton. We've had last year alone 58 structural fires, and we've responded to 11,549 alarms. Because of the all workload, our equipment breaks, and the cost of everything has gone up. Just like a gallon of milk has, just the fire engines have. Our turnout deal, when we first started buying, when I first started buying, when the coach was $700 a piece, they're now $1,425 under the New York State contract. So it isn't like we're not trying to save a dollar, it's just a things are going up. We just got a full-time inspector last year to help with the controller and mayor, the city council, and I thank you. So we can increase our fire inspections. This year we're hoping to at least double what we did last year with 2 personnel. Imagine what we could do if we had 3 personnel. This is all about safety and the welfare of the city, making it better. This is not to beat anybody up. It's a big city, we have 80,000 people, and 4.3 square miles. Things break, we try to replace them. We have a 50% cost cap on anything that breaks, and we look at it, we do a cost analysis on every item we purchase and do it smart. So with that, I saw the budget, I went through the budget, and I believe that the budget should be approved.
Comments on the budget? Any more comments on the budget?
Good evening, Kristen Reed, Director of Veteran Services for the City of Mount Vernon. The only comment that I have to make about the budget, there seems to be a lot of talk about pay. As a city employee, I have stood before this council and actually before the mayor several times and before our previous council as well, and argued that good work ain't cheap and cheap work ain't good. And I stand by that. Anyone who has ever done home renovations knows if you get a cut rate contractor, you're going to get cut rate results. Despite what everyone may think about this administration, the people employed by this administration are some of the most highly educated and qualified people in the history of the city. We do work very hard with a limited budget every day to provide services, and sometimes those services fall short. And sometimes it's because of us, sometimes it's because of the budget, sometimes it's because of the resources, it can be because of a myriad of things. But to suggest that any one of us has gone to further ourselves in schooling, with experience, gone to Iraq, and fought for this country, to come back here and be insulted by budgets that are not comparable with surrounding areas. I agree with Mr. Keller. Go through the budget line by line, and what you will find is that the lines are mandated by the New York State Comptroller, which means it is very easy to do a side-by-side comparison. Look up any one of the codes that Mr. Keller mentioned, and then look at Yonkers, or New Rochelle, or Albany, or Syracuse, and you will be able to see the comparison. Excuse me, you're being very rude while I was sitting back there. I heard you the whole time, and it's extremely rude, Mr. Not Reynolds. So what I'm saying is, excuse me, the last name? Yes, you told me? No, I said your husband has been extremely rude, been cursing and talking the whole time, and I'm not going to tolerate that.
I don't believe that.
Okay.
I don't hear it.
So what I'm saying is that that when you're looking at salaries, you have to look at the bigger picture, and that with qualifications does come expertise and does come a certain caliber of service and results. And that at some point you do have to put in work. Otherwise, you're going to continue to get cut rate results. Now, does that mean that it's across the board? No. I'm one of the recipients of an increase that was voted unanimously on by City Council. That does not mean that my increase is going to go up incrementally throughout the years. No, I'm equal with my colleagues in surrounding towns on the state and local data. I'm sorry. What that means is that I've maxed out at where I am from my career. That doesn't mean that I'm going to continue to make as much as the DPW commissioner. But it also doesn't mean that the DPW commissioner should not be paid for his skill and his expertise. I think that we have to stop being so penny wise and pound foolish when it comes to these things. That it does require a certain amount of investment. Now, whether you disagree with certain things, that is that. But go through the budget line by line and look at it and compare it fairly and equally. And ask yourselves, if you went to school and perfected your craft, or if you have children that you were sending to school, would you want them to come back and work for 30% less than surrounding areas? And just because something has been consistently underfunded, does that mean that it should remain that way and go up incrementally? Or does that mean that it should be corrected? Thank you for your time.
Peace and blessings. I'm Stefan Ritter. I'm originally from 241 South 9th Avenue. That's the projects. But I live at 252 Garden Avenue. I'm coming before you because we're not receiving any benefits from the federal or general from the United States Working Code. I'm a We're not receiving any benefits. We are the owners of this land. We're not getting our birth certificate funds, our estates. We are the inheritors. We are the people who, that you are giving this money and you're finding these funds to be giving these people raises and everything. But at the same time, we're not even being respected of the original Native American that we are. And now we have to come and sit behind these people you bring in from all of these different places, and then they go before us, and that's what Rosa Parks was standing for. So when we realize that you are so out of order from everything that you're doing, the HUD program, the United Urbans, this is the United Tenants, this was in the project. We were a separate entity from everything else here. So when you look at the basics of everything that you sum up these, where are you getting these funds for to even give these people these raises? I'm for them to have a raise, but why are they not doing their jobs? Where are vendors coming in and doing the jobs of DPW? Why is DPW doing other jobs? That's not what they're supposed to do. Why Memorial Field is not up? Why these promises that we keep listening to are not being fulfilled by your leadership? How can you go to the high school and throw money around with some no-name person thinking he's a rapper? Like, where do these things come from at leadership supposed to be representing a whole community of people? What about the 8 cents on the dollar? Taxes. Why are they paying so much taxes? Why are they paying all of this money and living in these homes in which they don't belong here, first of all, but they are here, and it's 8 cents on the dollar? How did they go so 22,000, they paying 15,000, some of them paying 14. Like, where do y'all get off by disrespecting the human race of people and not doing anything as we keep coming before you as a council? It says you're supposed to have 5 council members. So you got 4 council members and the president. Where do these things come from? Like, you're making up these rules as you go. Y'all know you're on a federal land where we have laws. You are disrespecting your obligations. The pastors and churches are disrespecting their commandments. You got everything, your pledges. You raised your right hand and said you was going to do the right thing for the same community. And now you disrespected it. And nobody's here to represent the whole community to stand up against you. 1/3 of a man, that's nothing, because we 1/4. And when you multiply, you're going to get 1/12. That's the 13 stars on the rebel flag. Y'all don't even know what y'all sitting here doing to us. And we should be able to come to you and nail you. You should be Jesus, and we should be nailing you to the cross. Because of the simple fact, it's simple that you're not doing nothing for us. We come to you every other weekend as a council member, and you don't even do nothing. Everything that we say, y'all do nothing. It's another minute after the buzzer goes. So now listen, everything that I'm bringing to you is all real. And I'm here to hold it up and make your law stand for what you're supposed to stand for. And if you don't, you should go to jail. And this whole administration should go with them. How are you going to give these people, bringing them from other places in the world when we right here, three colleges and everything else to go along with it? And that's what I'm saying. Peace and blessings. Y'all are rock to the core.
Comments on the budget?
Jane Curtis, I live at 98 Pearsall Drive. In addition to taking a good close look at the wisdom of the proposed expenditures, I very much hope that the City Council will probe into the rather extraordinary projections for certain revenue items. In particular, the one that jumps off the page is an item called per capita, parentheses, state revenue sharing, which is projected to increase by $6.3 million between 2018 actual and what is supposed to happen in 2009. I don't know what this item is. I hope some of you do.
You speak up, please.
And I said, I don't know what this item is. I know some of you do, and that you can explain this really extraordinary increase. Because if these seemingly magical revenue increases do not come to pass, we are looking at far, far more than a 2% increase in our tax rate. Thank you.
Comments on the budget?
Clark. I live at 1 Kingsbridge Plaza, zip code 10550. I'm a resident of Mount Vernon for the past 47 years. I'm not for the budget, and I'm not for the budget. I'm just going to give some general comments. I choose to live in Mount Vernon after I came here to a barbecue. And when I observed the surrounding of Mount Vernon, it reminded me of my native Jamaica. When I saw the nice houses and the high-rises and the flowers, and it was welcoming and clean. And I've been all over Europe. I've lived in London, I've been all over. When I first went to London, I have to make sure I know what the house looked like, because everything looked like a brick. And if you don't know your address, you can't find it. So Mount Vernon was a blessing for me. Plus, it was the only city in the state of New York that had a black population in majority. I've been involved in the political doings of Mount Vernon from I started living here. School board, city hall, and the hospital. Sometimes we go after the crumbs and not the cake. This is the only city around here that you don't have a college. Everywhere else have a college. And the hospital, which is so important, especially for young couples, there is no service for you to get a hearing if your child is choking. You gotta go to New Rochelle or you gotta go to Lawrence. And you gotta work on these things. I did mine. I organized Mount Vernon Hospital into 1199 when my wife was working here. And I told her, don't worry, kid, you're a midwife and you're a registered nurse. And I organized a hospital and the wages was very low. When I came here, service workers was getting $29 a week. That's why they pay them bi-weekly. That's like a little money. And we got those workers' salary up to $300 a week. And many of those people retire from Mount Vernon Hospital, retire with a decent pension and health care. When you get older, you do know that. And this is things we have to organize with our elected officials to make a city that people want to come to. Our young, educated people who come back here to work, we should appreciate them. And salaries, as a union person for 20 years, it's always negotiating, each department. And one of the reasons why we have a problem, we have a lot of turnover. You have somebody turn over, they're not committed, they just come and get what they can get and go. And you don't encourage them to stay, and you don't give them the respect, and it's mostly management. This last thing is the blame game is no good. I watch everybody on the TV talking about the storm and what wasn't done and what wasn't done. That's not the way to go about it. You prepare. I worked for the school district for 20 years. And any school I worked in, everybody knew. But when they came, they could see what was done. And Mother Nature saved us, because we went ahead of Mother Nature saying what not done. And we didn't get what we thought we were going to get. And you dug in yourself, even before nature came. We got to be careful what we say. It's not what we say, what we do.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jeff Monroe. I'd like to start by inquiring as to the, what I can see are the expenses of the Office of the Inspector General. I understand that this beleaguered office, and, congratulations for having instated the Inspector General, Mr. Mayor, but I understand that the Inspector General was the last line of authority within the CCRB, which was a panel impaneled by the council and resolved to investigate and institute policy for a citizens complaint review board for the police department. Over a year and a half ago, I understand that budget was tabled somehow, and I see no proposal for an Inspector General investigatory budget or any kind of CCRB budget. So I'm wondering if you no longer support accountability for our police department, or how we should understand that. Moving forward, I'd also like to, I'm wondering also, I'm looking in the Recreation and Youth Bureau budgets as to what might be the replacement of the media center. The media center in the Dole Center was closed down under the authority of your law department, Mr. Mayor, and I'm wondering where that service is going to be replaced. The media department, the media training center was, in fact, a satellite agreement. It's a mandate of the current draft of the franchise agreement that you've been publicly talking about for a while now. So I'm wondering, without the media training center, where is that service going to be rendered? It can't continue to be rendered at the high school, and without it, it's in fact an abrogation of the rights of the franchise agreement that, in fact, we would like to see at some point investigated by your appointees to the Cable Advisory Committee. Speaking of the Cable Advisory Committee, we understand that your revenues of $250,000 for the cable franchise fee proposed for 2019 don't come from anywhere that the Cable Advisory Committee is aware of. We're wondering if a budget, an audit, in fact, has even occurred. We're wondering if that budget comes from the carriers, or if it's something that you've determined from your own administration, and if that $250,000 isn't part anything that's actually come forward from the clawback of the monies that these carriers have owed us over the last at least 10 to 15 years. As to that $250,000, it seems that the city adopted $25,000 in 2017 for a public access studio expense. I'm wondering, and our Cable Advisory Committee is wondering where that money was spent, seeing as we have no ratified franchise agreement and no ratified or even constructed PEG system. That $25,000 has never seen our understanding, and it'd be nice to know that we even have a PEG system to be flushed with $25,000. Furthermore, another $20,000 has been proposed for 2019, and we're wondering where you plan to spend that money, since we still have no franchise agreement. So between that $45,000, where is the expected expenditure for our Cable Advisory Committee and or the PEG system that our city so desperately needs? So, having said all that, we'd like finally to, and by we, again, I speak for the Cable Advisory Committee and the rest of the community, quite frankly, because in 2019, for Mount Vernon to not have an independent community media organ is really, really depressing. It should be the easiest thing to do. It shouldn't cost our city anything, except maybe a site. And quite frankly, it would make everybody more informed as to what really goes on in city government. And frankly, our Cable Advisory Committee is eagerly awaiting your appointees of 2 people. We're awaiting the appointees of the city school district as well. And if you can convince them of that particular obligation, it'd be good too. Thanks again.
Good evening, my name is John Gallagher. I reside at 165 East Columbia Avenue. I'm the president of Concerned Property Owners in Mount Vernon. And we're not in favor of this budget the way it stands. I have a question. I'm looking at it here, and I don't know why there's such a significance to the fact that this budget is proposed as 2.68%. It's under that tax cap? Well, if my memory serves me right, it's either 2% or whatever your budget is that's what the cap is. It's 2%, it's not 2.68. And last year, our budget was under the tax cap, and you have to have 2 years in a row, either under the tax cap or under 2%, whichever comes less. So I don't know why this is being highlighted, and in addition to that, I don't believe you're gonna come into a 2.68% increase, because number one, your revenues are sky high and blown out of water. There's no question about it. We can go into each of the lines. I just got the budget now. This is not a detailed budget. When I used to look at budgets, I used to look at all the lines, and I'd be able to see what lines feed into them, and I could see where the money is going or not coming. Let's talk about revenues first. As I just said, you have sky-high numbers here. I got a question. I want to know where the revenue from the water department has been going for the last 2 years. Because the excess from the water department is supposed to come over to the controller's office. And to the best of my knowledge, it hasn't come over there. And in case you people don't know it, you were just hit with the 36% water rate increase, not approved by the New York City or by New York State, not approved by the City Council. Where is that money and where is it going? I'd like to know. I'd like to know why that occurred. Where is that money and where is it going as revenues? As for red light cameras, that's a complete joke, a complete joke. What are you doing, penalizing people in Mount Vernon? Have the police officers who are in this room right now, and their colleagues, which they can, just enforce the speed limits, the stop signs and whatnot. You don't need to put red light cameras. There's a lot of towns and cities that are opting out of red light cameras right now because they see it's a real complete joke. It's not about safety, it's about money making. As for the commissioners that are here, I expected them to come up here and talk about their salary and their salary increase. Why wouldn't they? Just like the people who own property here are going to say, don't raise my taxes, which I understand that very well. Well, when these people took jobs as commissioners, they knew what the salary was. And let me say something. There are jobs out there. You cannot compare our city with New Rochelle, White Plains, Yonkers, because guess what? All those communities have been rising in tax base and value. What do we do here in Mount Vernon? We invite developers here. Not the right type of developers, the developers that want to be leeches and parasites that eat off us. And by that I mean taxpayers, because they come here and they get these programs that are called pilots, which are ridiculous because they pay very little in taxes, but yet they want service. You know, it was referenced tonight about school. I'm very active in the school district, okay? There's a meeting going on right now, and after this I'm going there. Your school taxes, ladies and gentlemen, for the last 5 years have been 0%. Last year it was 0.89% increase. And that's because people in Mount Vernon vote on the budget. They vote on the budget for school taxes. Maybe we should vote on the budget of the city here, and we'll see how a 2.7 supposedly would pass or not pass. But anyway, as I explained to people last year when I told them to vote yes on the budget, it was for the school, for the district, or whatever, I said, you're going to get the money back in a tax rebate check. And they did. They got a lot more. You got a lot more back on it than what you paid, 0.89%. You can't compare the city and the school district. You just can't do it. They're two autonomous bodies, okay? And they run separately, and they should run separately. Of course, unless you invade school property, you shouldn't do that. Can't imagine what I'm talking about. Yeah, okay. Well, here's the bottom line. The bottom line is, ladies and gentlemen, this is a dog and pony show. And I hope that two heads on this body right here can sit together and talk about reducing this percentage and put out realistic figures. People in Mount Vernon are tired of crap. They're tired of lies. They're tired of scams. They want to see the real figures that are out there. What the revenues are going to be as projected to someone that's knowledgeable, and to what the expenses are going to be. Because that's what makes a real budget for people to see. And I would love to see a 0% increase. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'd love to see that, okay? But you know what? You got to work together, ladies and gentlemen. You got to come out. And I don't know what influence this is going to have on this body, but I hope that people realize that come out and say your piece, tell people how you feel. And you know what? We cannot be compared to Yonkers, White Plains, because they're all on the uprise. We are not on the uprise. We are still stagnant. And when people talk about streets, don't take a ride on Douglas Place and Ridgeway and see how nice that street is and sidewalk, and figure out who lives there.
My name is Jay Hodge, 558 South Avenue, Mount Vernon, New York. I'm not for the budget. Yes, I understand that we need an increase, certain things, planning, building, the sewer, those things we all for. They need to happen, we want them to happen. However, this budget is astronomical. I can't come out of my pocket any more than I have. The median average salary for the city of Mount Vernon, that people that work here, is extremely low. I went to school with the mayor. We played football together. I appreciate everything he did, and he has done. With the fireworks, getting the circus to come, making those steps. However, because I know this man, I'm asking you, Mr. Mayor, I know you, and I know you can do better. Do better with this budget, do better with the city of Mount Vernon. We're not asking for a lot, we're not asking for a decrease just to prove where the money is going, where the funds are going, and it allocated properly. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Comments on the budget? Any comments on the budget?
Hello, everyone. Sorry, I have a little bit of a cold. I'm not against it. Pardon me, my name is Hope Marable. I live at 2 Fisher Drive, Mount Vernon, New York. And I'm not against the budget, but what I will say though is, I'm looking at this note where it says that the budget does not include over $200,000 in step increases for civil service employees, something that is state mandated. I do know from our personal experience that that is something that would be very costly for us in the long run if it's not implemented in the budget. So that, that's just something that I would like to see inducted. And I would just like to say, at the end of the day, I'm not against it, but I think that a lot of compromises have to be made. And I would just like to see you guys sit at the table, just make it work. Because I think that there's a lot of good intentions here. And I think, we absolutely need to address the sewage problem. For me, I think that's number one, because for the most part, that's like the main complaint that the citizens of the city has to do with the sewage, and it's on a personal level because it's interfering with the quality of life. So I know that's a big one also. I haven't had the chance to go through it line by line. It doesn't look I don't know which one I'm looking at. I think this is something that from the controller's office. I didn't get a chance to download what had been generated by the mayor's office, but once I get a chance to look at that, I will be able to formulate a better opinion. But I do know that we do have to address, of course, anything is state mandated, because there will be fines, there will be repercussions, Department of Labor issues, and what have you. So that was all I had to say. Thank you.
Comments on the budget? Comments on the budget?
Yo. Yes, sir.
My name is Dwayne Brown. For transparency, I have a residence in Vernon, 195 Lincoln Avenue, but I also reside in New City, North Boston area. I happen to live in both cities at the same time. How I do that? I have a wife that controls where I stay most of the night. So, but I'm here to say that for the budget or against the budget, I'm really for Mount Vernon. And all of you here have a job. I work with all three of you on personal matters, so I'm not going to come here and bash either one of you because that's hypocritical of me when I work for all of you in personal matters. But I do want to say that we need a change in marketing. I have a business here. My wife, I talked to my wife into opening up a law firm here. So I believe in the city. My family, my kids love the city. And you know, they know I'm from here. You know, my wife is from Rockland, but we share a common goal that my kids interact with people from Mount Vernon, and is proud that I'm from Mount Vernon. I happen to run our baseball league, which is started out with 20 kids. I'm up to 300 kids. So we're moving in a certain direction. The one thing I'm an action guy. I control my budget, so to tell you to do this is not my angle. But I do want to say I'm an action guy. Our public access, for instance, there's a lady who is 80 years old. She's from Long Island City, deep in Long Island, about 4 hours away. And every week she sends me a tape of her sitting in her kitchen talking to someone, and it's on Channel 18. We put it on Channel 18. I produce over 40 shows for the school system in the last 30 days. So we may not have a studio, but we have Channel 18 that we can play things on. So I can't sit up and wait around for things to happen. We got to control our own destiny a little bit. The community got to step up. You guys got a job to do, but we have a job to do as a community to perform. So that's all I want to say, is that we have to work together and make it happen. You know, the world is watching us. You know, kids is watching us. And we got to perform for our future. I'm already good where I am, but I want to make sure my kids and other kids, I mentor a lot of kids in the city. I teach and open up my doors and business to a lot of different kids. I have 4 in the building now. I left, you know, so I do it for the kids, because the community has always helped me, provided for me, taught me things, and I just want to give back to my community and do the same thing. So y'all can fix this budget how y'all feel. I'm sure y'all work it out. It's not the first time I've been up here. It's not the first budget hearing. They seem like it's a replay of the same thing every year. So I don't see the difference from today, 10, 15, 20 years ago. But we got to do better. We got to do better for our future. We have a mission, and we just got to make sure these kids from Mount Vernon be as proud to be from Mount Vernon as I am. You know, and you know, in Rockland, we got to go to board meetings. It's the same thing. You know, our town isn't that much different from other places. We got to believe in this town and believe in each other. Thank you.
Comments on the budget? Comments on the budget? Comments on the budget? Seeing no further comments, entertain a motion to close the budget session.
This is a board of estimate contract, budget coordinator, and we've always had, in the past, the comptroller talk about what she feels, the council president, and yourself. So basically, I just wanted to say for the record, at our budget hearing, that there's a lot of problems that I find with Mayor Thomas's 2018 proposed budget. There's over $2 million in salary increases for appointees. The city of Mount Vernon has its full complement of police, firemen, and DPW workers, meaning we don't need any more workers. We are at full capacity, that's state mandated.
Yes, we do.
There were 13 new hires in the mayor's proposed budget. 13 new hires. I see constituents every day, taxpayers who state they can't pay a dime more. We have many homes facing foreclosure. They can't even pay what they actually owe right now. They're facing foreclosure. The 2019 budget does not include $200,000 in step increases, yet it gives over $30,000 to each appointee. Civil service workers, this is state mandated. How can you bypass civil service workers getting their step increase and give $30,000 to each appointee? Not fiscally responsible. I want to also talk about, here we go. The step increases, It's much more. So what are we actually doing here with Mayor Thomas's proposed budget? It's not fiscally responsible, and it creates lawsuits. Because people who are civil service workers are supposed to receive these step increases, not appointees receiving $30,000 raises. The revenues are, forget it, they're excessively overstated. What this will do is kick the can down the road. Taxes will continue to get higher and higher. It puts taxpayers at risk. So everyone will be at risk of losing their home and facing foreclosure. If you look at the revenues, our revenues, the mayor's proposed 2019 budget has $51 million. The actual 2018 was only $26 million. It leaves a difference of $25 million. What does that tell you when it comes to an increase here? There's not 2.6% increase. It's closer to 30%. The budget states on its face 2.69%. That's not true. We have to go back, and I'm asking the mayor and the city council president today, tonight, in front of everyone that's here. You have to go back and look at the budget. I am open, my office is open, I am there to help prepare a fiscally responsible budget for the taxpayers, the residents who live here. So this is something that you have to do. You have to go back to the drawing board. Let's come together as 3 members of this board and come up with a budget that will help the people of Mount Vernon, not create havoc on their lives in the near future. So I just wanted to put that on the record. Thank you.
Make it simple. We are prepared to go back and work on this budget and make sure that it's right. Last week I sent you both a letter that we should all sit down. I've not heard back from you, but it is good to hear that the controller is willing to sit down. And we should sit down together as a group immediately, because this is an urgent matter. As I've been saying for months, and we will move forward, but we will have a responsible budget at the end of the day, and it will come soon. That's all I have to say. Thank
you. So, the time is 8:21 p.m. I got a bunch of commissioners here that all kind of caught their breath and heard that you guys want to sit and talk about the budget and here to help. I can tell you that, you know, for many of us, volunteers, some of them stick behind the night, and I got some restaurants on speed dial. We'll go downstairs to my conference room and talk about it now, because, you know, we've been talking for a long time about getting the audit done with our urban renewal agency. I'm happy to hear that the council is now going to take steps to fund it. That's a great step for us. But we still have some obvious things that we have to deal with, particularly complying with the Clean Water Act. And I think that looking at history, looking at other communities that comply with the Clean Water Act, Portchester being one of them, I think you see the growth in the investment in their communities that naturally happen when you fix the streets, the roads, and sidewalks. And much of that work is done through a capital plan, which is also seen in this budget. But nonetheless, there's a lot to discuss. We're ready to go downstairs and talk. So I think we'll entertain a motion to adjourn, and you're both welcome to come off right now. So I said I entertain the motion. Is there a motion?
Make a motion.